Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to part 5 in our series on free saxophone lessons. Today we're going to look at the all-important task of assembling the instrument. So I'll be demonstrating again using the alto sax, but you'll open up your sax case and there'll be a variety of separate components in that case. We've got to learn how to put them all together and pull them apart every time we play. The first thing I want you to find in your saxophone case is your neck strap. There's a whole different variety of brands and designs and shapes. I'm a lover of the Neotech brand. It has a beautiful cushioned collar made out of swimsuit type material. Now, importantly, the very first thing you should do when you open your sax case is get your strap out and put it over your head. Now, whether you're male or female, I strongly recommend you wear a shirt or a top that has a collar. The reason is it's not a fashion statement. Notice what I just did. I put the neck strap under my collar. So at no point on my body is the strap directly touching my skin. If you're playing on a hot day, you're going to be sweating, the strap is going to get that sweat, it's going to be itchy, and a whole lot of distractions happen when the strap is actually engaged directly with your skin. So simple solution, I've done it all my life. Make sure when I'm playing that I've got a collared top on, a shirt, coat, whatever, that I can put my strap under the collar. Solves all of those issues. The neck strap cutting into your neck, all of that. Easy fix. The next thing we're going to grab out of the case is the actual neck of the saxophone. This is an alto sax neck. And we need some cork grease. I've mentioned in a prior lesson that the best type of cork grease, absolutely, is the one sold in a lipstick type tube. Because here we can just put a light smear of that cork grease on the cork on the end of the neck without touching the grease. The alternate is we have to dip our finger into a tub of cork grease, instantly get all of that sticky goo on our hand and then rub it on the cork. And then try and wipe it off before we touch any other part of the sax and instantly gung up the saxophone. Answer is get a lipstick type tube of cork grease. Light smear there. When we pick up the mouthpiece, the next thing we're looking for is the mouthpiece. Now, it will probably have a mouthpiece cap over it in the case. In this case, this is a gold-coloured one. It might be a plastic cap. So we just want to take, if it does have a cap on it, take the cap off and just have the mouthpiece on its own. Now, this is really important. We're always going to wind a mouthpiece on and off of that cork. It actually doesn't matter what instrument it is, whether it's clarinet or baritone sax or whatever. Don't just push the mouthpiece onto the cork because it puts a lot of stress on that cork and can easily rip it. If you wind the mouthpiece on and wind it off, it solves all of that stress on the cork. The cork will last so much longer. Now we're going to sit down when we set up the sax first up today. And on the saxophone, we always sit with the saxophones to our right, resting on our right-hand thigh. Whether we're sitting or standing, the saxophone should naturally go over to your right-hand side, unless it's the straight soprano or sopranino saxophones, and you just play them like a clarinet out in front of you. But on the alto and tenor, which we're largely talking about, and also on the baritone, we want to actually have that saxophone coming down beside us, which means when we set our mouthpiece angle, we actually don't want our mouthpiece set parallel to the floor because our saxophone is not going to be directly in front of us. Some people I see doing that, it's not a good idea. It's impossible on the tenor sax to do it. And on the alto sax, it's a very crowded way to play the instrument with both hands directly in front of you. Depending on your seating arrangement, it can be incredibly awkward to sit with the saxophone between your legs. Don't do it. have the saxophone always over to your right. The idea here is simply to twist your mouthpiece in a clockwise direction so that when you look at it straight on, it's angled over in that direction, because when the sax then is angled, the mouthpiece tends to level out. And instead of having to have your head like turn to the side to play the mouthpiece, you can keep your head straight up and down, and you can see the saxophone is coming over here. Now, how far to do that? That's going to take a little bit of personal adjustment, which is one of the reasons why you have to have that cork grease there. You want to be able to adjust the angle of the mouthpiece easily. Now we reach in and get our ligature. There's all different designs and all different types of ligatures. This one is my preferred ligature. It's the Rovna Platinum series, the Metal Platinum series. And it's one of the few Rovna ligatures that goes under the mouthpiece. Rovna traditionally have their adjusting screws up the top, but this one's actually designed in the conventional ligature way for the winding screw and the connector points for the reed to be like that below. Now we get our reed. I'm a lifetime user and lover of synthetic reeds, so I don't have to do anything with this reed. Just get it out of its reed case and put it on the mouthpiece. No need to wet it, no need to do anything with the reed other than slide it under the ligature. Now, we've covered this in lesson 2, but I'll do it again here for ease of reference. So what we do here is we push the ligature up, we grab the thick end of the reed, we slide the thick end of the reed under the ligature and align it to the tip of the mouthpiece rail, pull the ligature back. When that's all aligned, tighten the ligature. It's a very simple process. So I'm ready to play there now as far as the mouthpiece setup. You can see the reed is aligned to the tip of the mouthpiece. It's even on both sides. The ligature is pulled back. A lot of mouthpieces will have a mark on them, but somewhere about there where I've got it. And finger tighten the ligature. Don't get carried away with how tight that ligature is, because you really don't want to choke the reed. You want the reed to feel like it can vibrate along its whole length of the reed. Now it's time to grab the saxophone out of the case, and importantly, because we've got our neck strap already on, we can simply grab the saxophone, pick it up with one hand with our right hand. What we're looking for is this hoop here, the connector hoop between the saxophone and the strap. Because we've already got our strap on, we simply, in this case, pull the hook back, put it through the circle, close the hook, and you and the saxophone are now firmly secured via the strap. In your case, your saxophone will quite likely have a plastic protector plug that sits up in the top of the body of the sax. Its one and only job is to protect the octave key post that sticks up above the top circumference of the body of the sax. So we have to take it out now so that we can install the neck of the saxophone into the body of the saxophone. So don't forget, we're hooked up here. We can't drop the sax. That's why it's so important to put that strap on first. We now grab our neck that's already got the mouthpiece and the ligature and the reed on it, and we simply now, again, side to side fashion, wind that into the body of the top of the sax. If you ever wonder what the screw is on the left-hand side of the top of your saxophone, there's a little hole there in which you can secure a lyre, a metal music stand. We're not going to use that. On the right-hand side, we have a tightening screw that once we find the right angle of that, where do we want the neck, so that when we're sitting down, in this case, I'm now going to put the saxophone down on my right. I'm going to pull the neck strap up, and what I'm doing there, I'm holding the weight of the saxophone in my right hand. I'm going to adjust the neck strap up to where the mouthpiece comes at the right height for my mouth. So I'm sitting up normal. I'm not going to adjust my head to find the saxophone. I'm going to adjust the angle of the neck of the sax and the height of my mouthpiece so that when I play the sax, it comes to me. Now, where I've got that there is about where I want it. So I'll tighten up that neck screw so it doesn't wander away from me. I'll confirm the height of my instrument. And that's the perfect angle of the mouthpiece, the perfect height of the strap for me and the angle of the neck. I'm ready to play, sitting down. Now, when I stand up, everything stays largely the same, although the saxophone won't be on as an acute angle on my right-hand side. So you can see that the saxophones went from about that angle to this angle. And depending on how comfortable you feel about that, when you stand up, you may want to wind your mouthpiece anti-clockwise a little bit so that your head can remain in a vertical position when you're playing. That's how we assemble the saxophone. How do we pull it apart? Everything happens in reverse order. I hope you're enjoying the new free saxophone lesson series on my YouTube channel. I've had the honour of working with students of all ages and abilities across 13 countries internationally. If you'd like to connect with me one-on-one for some online lessons and accelerate your learning on the saxophone, please check out the contact details on my website and send me an email. I'd be delighted to work with you. If you feel like you'd like to make a donation towards the upkeep and production of the hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel, please refer to the links in the description of every video on the channel. Thank you and enjoy your journey on the saxophone.